So, sitting here, chilling, thinking, a lot on my mind. Um, I just wanted to say a few things, you know, about a lot of things quickly, and I'll try to work my way down the list in the line in a conducive manner without getting too off track. The first thing I wanted to speak on is the next set of work that I'm going to be doing and how I wanted to do it in this order, and I wanted to explain my last work and explain the where I'm going with everything. Well, the last piece was to try to show people, I've been saying for a very long time that the Gentiles and the seed of Japhet are two different seeds. Been saying it for the better part of a year. Um, I've been saying that the Gentiles are also to be considered the seed of the original people who were created before Adam, who are tainted with the fallen angels. I voted that for a very long time. I've also voted that the Gentiles are just regular people who are soulless beings who managed to live through the flood. People don't believe that anything survived through the flood. The logic is that the mountains couldn't have been flooded. Let's just go from a logical point of view. You guys are telling me right now that the earth was flooded so bad that Noah's boat was like floating on top of mountains and stuff like that. I have a hard time believing that. I just believe that the regular land, established land, had feet and feet and feet of water on it, pushed up so high that no giant would be as tall as a mountain anyway. So let's say 300, 400 feet of water, 500 feet of water come and push a 200 feet, 100-foot monster into the water and drown it type thing. You got to use your imagination here for a second, please. Um, um, and when I say use your imagination, you have to know that the first creation of people were larger people. Adam was technically a giant himself. Noah, I'm quite sure, would have been considered gigantic. Sem, Ham, and Japhet probably could have been considered larger, considering. So when you read the term giant afterwards of the son of Ham or the grandson of Ham, Nimrod or Nebrod, becoming the first giant after the flood, you have to imagine how much larger he would have been, considering. Saying all that, I've contended many things. Uh, I contended in that last video that there is also within the seed of the Gentiles, you know, they're just not no, they're not people at all. There are a whole seed of them that are not. They're not human being whatsoever. Their initial phase of life is not human whatsoever. That's all I was saying, and I was trying to point out, you know, because it dawned on me, and I didn't bring it up at all. It was spoken on by somebody else, but I spoke to my brother Andre Wickham. We talked about it, and we were saying how Japhet is probably a lot of these black people we've been saying is Ham or saying is Sem for many years. But this goes down the line of the list of guys like Hercules. You know what I mean? Right, right. That's Japhet. It's not. I don't think that's Ham or Sem. If that was a man who was in a Japhetic area, right on. If he's not in, I mean, man, it makes a lot of sense. And if you breed out a phenotype of people, then that's what's going to happen. You know, um, um, we can go to the pictures in Egypt once again of the large tarmac black giants. I can't stress it enough. Those things had red hair, and if there's one picture, I'm gonna have to pull it up one of these days and put it in a video, and remind myself to do it. It has what looks like a red beard. And I'm like, is this where that black skin and red hair phenotype comes from? From a giant. And um, once again, there's big red giants that have blonde hair. I can't say I've seen any of them with any kind of facial hair, but I'm sure, if I look hard enough, I could find it. Uh, it's amazing. It's truly amazing, y'all. Uh, what a conundrum we're in. And all I've tried to do the last year or better is bridge some of these gaps that I feel are so monumental that you can't move on in the story unless you understand it. And I went back to Genesis for my own reasoning because a brother that I have much love for, my brother Brandon, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna see him later today, as a matter of fact. And we was talking, and he was like, "I just can't get out of Genesis." You know, the devil needs to get behind me. Trying to mess my mind up. But he was telling me, "I just can't get out of Genesis. I just can't get out of it." And I was just like, "Why can't this dude get out of Genesis?" And around the same time, when my videos, when I start to get real Genesis heavy, this is around the same time. And not too long after this, I would come in contact, real contact with my brother Andre Wickham, and it, and since dealing with him, my understanding for certain things has increased many folds. Creativity has been flowing better. Somebody to ping ideas off of, and to just outright give me ideas. My little brother Martin Etta, you know what I'm saying? Uh, uh, my man's I just been, I just recently got in contact with, Apple of Yazai, good people, real good people. Won't share his name with y'all because I'm not sure how he feels about that, but he's real good people. You know what I'm saying? You know, I try to really talk to people. I try to like deal with people. It's not just a, this isn't just a thing to me. You know, it's like this is real life, and I would rather be a positive part of your life than a negative part of it, and help you any way that I can. And if just telling you a kind word helps, then that's what I'm trying to do. But back to what I was talking about with the works is, that last work, people like Martin Etta, where he asked about certain things about timelines and wanting to understand that a little bit better. I hope some of the physical timelines I gave actually helped. You know, there's no way to give you a definitive timeline, brother. I can't tell you specifically this day this happened or this year this happened. There's no real way to identify any of it. You know, it's speculation for the most part, and that's just coming from somebody who's honest enough to say it. Um, so I don't deal with the speculation. I deal with the details in the speculation because those are less hard to dispute when one culture of people and then another culture of people and then another culture of people all account for the same event, with the same type of detail, with the same kind of characters. Be it that they have different names, be it because there's different linguistics involved. Um, I mean, the list goes on and on. The things that I could talk to you guys about go on and on. The next work, Japanese fire sacrifice. I can't wait to get all in it. I've been doing the research for it. Um, I'm going to chronicle a few of the major world events, disasters, timelines, show you technologies before those times, show you to bring up the technologies that might have arisen right after, show you the contradictory with the timelines that they give you, and how people don't realize the Mandela effect isn't just trying to like change an actual event. It could just be going back and then editing something, right on, physically editing it, and then putting back out the information. That changes it. If I told you in high school 7 or 8 years ago that officially World War I started in 1911 or 1910 and lasted until 1918, and the American involvement wasn't until 1914, right? And then you read on the internet 7 years later that it started in 1914, and then you have to type in the unofficial date World War I started, and then it goes way back further than that. It goes back to 1882. You're like, damn. See what I'm saying? So don't be afraid by what you can't find. Reverse engineer your question. Roger that? Okay. And if you don't get what I'm saying, that means that if you're like, man, well, I can't find what this used to be, reverse engineer your question. And the specific thing is like, I was looking at the death tolls for Hiroshima and Nagasaki. When I was a child, I remember, Hiroshima always being spoke on, but Nagasaki being the more important because Hiroshima lost 900,000, and then Nagasaki lost like, a million or better, like 1.1 million. If you go back and look at the information they have posted and dictated now, they'll tell you that only like a quarter million people between the two places were killed, and some hundreds of thousands more were affected. That is such an erroneous lie. It's such an erroneous lie. You know, I'm gonna have the information to show you how, the listing of most populated cities in Japan during World War II. You're going to look at those lists. You're going to get a physical number of what they claim was the population for the people of Japan in World War II. And then I want y'all to think about, do these numbers make any sense? Okay. They had a bombing raid that used, I want you all to listen to this. Listen to what I'm saying. They did a bombing raid, right? That only used like 1,500 tons of freaking explosive. Then they had, listen, this nuke was like 10,000 tons. One of them was like the little boy or something like that. And then the fat man was like had a payload, freaking greater than that. I can't think of the exact numbers, so I won't misquote it. But but the factor is this: is that when I come with this stuff, think about what I said about the satyr, the centaur, that these people are not all. Some of their bloodline is fragmented. It doesn't make them bad people off tops. It just makes their ways automatically more deviant than yours or mine could ever be. You could never match the wickedness of a white man. Right on. You couldn't. You can't. Nor can you match the wickedness of a person who's mixed with the blood. You know what I'm saying? Of people that are not from the rootstock. I want y'all to look, man. Look, rounded like ears. You know what I'm saying, not all stand up and pointy and shit. Right on. You dig me? Look at You gotta start looking at yourself and looking at these phenotypes of these things. This is the truth, y'all. This is where we're at. This is where we're at. Some people really have like those sharp pointed ears at the end. I'm starting to wonder. Starting to wonder. Really starting to wonder. It's not just elongated ears. It's the way that it's shaped. It might be distorted at an angle. I'm like, man, am I really seeing what I think I'm seeing? And you got to realize, if you're mixed, like most of us are, you could have a little bit of that blood in you yourself. Therefore, changing your phenotype, therefore making you seem more like that than not sometimes. There's nothing you can do about that, but you need to take that into consideration when I bring all this up. So you're not dealing with regular people. We're not talking about just regular people. As much as you think you are, you're not. Anytime you go to the island, you got to think Gentile. And then you have to think, what did these Gentiles look like? What branch of Gentiles are these? See how deep it gets? Right. It's not just as simple as saying these are white people. It's like these could have been black looking Gentiles, or mixed with satyr black Gentiles, or what you there's so many different combinations that I can't stress it right here and now. All I can try to do is attempt to point out with the bloodlines of Japhet, the ones who were specifically given the islands of the Gentiles. Man, I mean, this is information I've gone over a few times. You know, um, I'm just realizing that you have to reiterate yourself all the time if you really want people to get the point that you're trying to make. You have to constantly remake it and keep saying it and rebuff and edit and go back, and hopefully people will actually accept what you're trying to say. And it's not that it has to be true, but they're accepting it like this is a viable possibility. You know, the problem with a lot of people now is that they just can't see it. The video after that, uh, want to do something about the spectrums, you know, and the spectrums and where, why in which we can't see certain things. While I'm in the Japanese video, I got to talk about how the world was. I'm going to point out the perils of how that time period was more like this time period than any other time period in the whole world. I'm talking about 1937 ish up until the climax of the war. Right on. I'm going to point out technologies, social constructs, mores, uh, the degeneracy of certain groups. Right on. How the caste system that we use now was implemented then, um, and how the world was actually at its knees. And I truly, honestly believe Hitler was this close, not to ending the world, but to making some of the parts of prophecy that people are waiting to happen now to happen. I honestly believe it. He would have had the mighty men that would have needed to be slain. In the end, I mean, it just, man, it's deep, y'all. I can't even stress it all right here and now. I just wanted to break into it and touch on it. Um, just a couple other little things I wanted to hit on. I can't stress enough. I understand the word says that the daughters of Zion, you know, and the daughters-in-laws will be fornicators, you know what I mean, and adulterers, you know what I'm saying, and play the whore pretty much. I understand that. I understand that if you go out to war and you see a woman and you want her and you make her shave her hair and clip her nails and you give her 30 days to lament, that you can now take her as your wife, and if you're displeased with her, you can't sell her, but you can let her go because you have humbled her, you know what I'm saying, or you've lain with the woman. um, I understand that. I understand that there are two tribes specifically that the fathers of the tribes went and had children right off tops with non-Israelitish women. I mean, non-Israelite women. Israelitish being a person whose father is not an Israelite. So excuse that jargon. But what I'm saying is that Judah being the first, and then Joseph being after, and Judah marrying into the Canaanite blood or the Canaanite, and Joseph giving his seed to the Egyptian woman. Now, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants he shall be. You know what I'm saying? A servant and slave he shall be to his brethren. That when Judah did that, he gave rise to that being a curse for him to be a servant and a slave. You understand that? And I'm just going to let that go. Um, um, but anyhow, even with all that said, the greater part of the Israelite people, those children went on to be with Israelite women. And that's how they're considered Israelites, because they're Shemitic people. Um, if you want to go to the story of Ruth, of David, and she's a Moabite. Moabites are Shemitic people. So, and when you think about what that did for David's bloodline, was that it made him more Shemitic than not, right on? Because he was a Jehudite who was born in an Ephrathite village. So, saying all that, all I'm getting at is that you can't not be with your own people. That's the bottom line. Maybe you have to be with the chick who's not so nice, and her ways before this were not humble at all, and they were haughty. Right on? Humble yourself to that. Unless you have just been that stand up of a citizen where I can totally overstand your gesture and gripe as to not settling, I get you. But if you've ever played the fornicator on any level, if you've played the luster on any level, if you've done any of that, then you are in no place to speak like that. And it makes you so wrong to tell your people that they can go be with Mexicans and Asians and Arabs and Africans. Right on. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. How are they going to be the seed of Israel? How are they going to be black people all of a sudden? They're not you. Their plight is not your plight. I cannot stress it enough. Look at this hair. Look at it. Look at me. They don't look like you. I know brothers who facial hair grow up almost to the damn eyeballs. You know what I'm saying? But if they don't look like me, right on, whether it goes all the way across, connects all whatever, they don't look like me, I can't mess with it. As far as my people's concerned on that level. If you're Ham Sim and you're my people, I fuck with you. Sim Ham whatever. The Hamido Shemitic bloodline. I fuck with you. Heavy and hard. Most of my cousins, Hamido Shemitic. Right on? A lot of my family like that. Uh, People are like, how do you know you're not African? Because I understand my bloodline very, very strongly, you know, and I'm Semitic, Japhetic from my real understanding, you know, virtually 3/4 Semitic, you know, by way of my mother and father, and then between them, just right at a quarter or just a little over a quarter of Japhetic blood, being that I'm a little native, a little Chinese, and a little Irish. Once again, this is honesty at its finest. They can't tell you to not be with your people. I would never say to not do that. My son is the son of a mixed girl whose daddy's black, mama's white. Right on? He's mixed. No matter how black he could ever look to people, he's mixed to me. To me, you're mixed. Right on? And I made that decision. And that's not a mistake, but that's a decision that I have to live with. That's a strange child, right out the book, right on. And you have to get over yourself. You have to get over yourself. This is how I expound. This is how I talk to my friends. This is how I do it. I just once again from one place to the next place to the next place. Um, Let me think of anything else before I shut it down. Oh, the Most High God of everything. One of those things that I just believe I understand about him is that he has to follow his own rules. He doesn't break his own rules for no reason. He only goes within the constructs. And so, for example, he didn't invent the lie. Do you understand that? But when the first lie was told, it was now it's within for me to use the same instrument that I already knew existed. I never used it. Right on? But because you've used this instrument, it can now be used against you because you used it against others. It's called reciprocity. Right on? But he would never tell the lie himself. Woo! How vicious is that? So you forget. Once again, this will be in the spectral one. You can't see everything going on. So something could come upon you and take you over and make you speak words that are not true. Yes. Very, very, very true. So when I say that my God follows his own rules, he follows all of his own rules. Every fucking one of them. Excuse my language. That's how it makes me feel. Right on. So don't put hypocrisy and my God together. If you're out there making pence off of my God in any kind of way, shape, or form, may he have mercy on you. Good day. Good day. And we'll do this again sometime soon.